Before we begin, make sure you hit subscribe right now, because today you are about to discover one of the most mysterious and talked about coins from South Africa. A tiny 1-cent coin from 1967 that many people ignored for decades. But what if I told you that some collectors believe certain rare versions of this coin could be worth a shocking amount of money? And the truth behind this coin is even more fascinating than its value. Picture this for a moment. It's 1967. The world is changing fast. Nations are rising. Gold prices are moving. Old currencies are disappearing. And deep inside South Africa, millions of small bronze 1-cent coins begin circulating through shops, farms, railway stations, tobacco stores, and markets. Most people saw them as nothing more than pocket change. But history has a strange habit. Sometimes the smallest objects survive longer than kings, governments, and fortunes. And today, that tiny 1967 South African 1-center coin has become one of the most searched vintage African coins among collectors, historians, and treasure hunters over the age of 55. Because for many older men, coins are not just metal. They are memory. They are history you can hold in your hand. They remind people of childhood, old salaries, family businesses, train rides, old leather wallets, and the sound of coins hitting wooden counters decades ago. Now let's talk about this incredible coin. The 1967 South Africa 1-center was struck during a powerful era in South African history. At the time, the country was producing coins with strong detail, durable metal, and classic designs that today's collectors admire deeply. On one side of the coin, you'll find the national symbols connected to South Africa's identity during that era. On the other side, the value and years stand proudly stamped into the bronze surface. Over time, many of these coins became worn down from circulation. Some disappeared forever. Others were melted, damaged, or simply forgotten in drawers and jars. But a few survived in remarkable condition. And this is where the story becomes exciting. Because condition changes everything. A heavily damaged 1967 1-cent may only hold small collector interest. But if someone discovers a high-grade example with sharp details, original shine, and almost no wear, the value can rise dramatically in the collector world. Now here's something most people never realize. Not every 1967 1-cent is identical. Some coins were struck more clearly than others. Some have stronger lettering. Some may show rare, minting characteristics. Tiny differences that ordinary people overlook can completely change collector demand. And experienced collectors know this very well. That's why older coin experts spend hours examining coins under magnifying glasses and bright lights. They search for rare varieties, unusual textures, minting mistakes, doubled letters, off-center strikes, and original surfaces untouched by cleaning. Because one small detail can turn an ordinary coin into a collector's dream. And this is exactly why videos like this are exploding in popularity among mature audiences. People are starting to check old boxes again. Old safes, old cabinets, old inherited collections. Coins hidden for 50 years are suddenly returning to the spotlight. Now imagine being a retired man sitting quietly at home, opening an old family tin box that hasn't been touched in decades, and inside is a 1967 South Africa 1-center in beautiful condition. That moment alone is powerful, not because of money, because of connection. The coin instantly transports a person back in time, back to another world, back when bread cost cents, back when people carried cash every single day, back when coins mattered. And that emotional connection is one reason older collectors remain the strongest force in the coin market today. Many younger people see digital numbers on screens. But older generations understand the emotional weight of physical currency. They understand craftsmanship. They understand preservation. They understand history. And the South African 1967 1-cent carries all of that inside one tiny piece of bronze. Now let's talk about what makes collectors truly excited. Original color. If your coin still has traces of its original reddish-brown mint surface, collectors immediately pay attention. Natural aging creates beautiful tones over time. Some coins develop deep chocolate colors. Others gain warm copper highlights. But beware. Cleaning a coin can destroy value instantly. Many beginners make a huge mistake by polishing old coins to make them shiny. Unfortunately, experienced buyers can spot clean surfaces immediately. Once the original texture is damaged, collector interest often drops sharply. So if you ever find an old coin collection, never rush to clean anything. Preserve it exactly as it is. Another major factor is rarity and high grades. Millions of coins may have been produced, but survival in excellent condition is much lower. Think about it. These coins circulated through countless hands for years. They were dropped, scratched, exposed to heat, moisture, and dirt. Finding one today in exceptional condition is not easy. That scarcity creates demand, and demand creates value. Now here's where the story becomes even more dramatic. In the world of coin collecting, rumors spread fast about rare versions, error coins, and auction surprises. Some stories are exaggerated. Others are absolutely real. And every time collectors hear about a rare African coin selling for huge money, interest surges again. This creates excitement across the entire market. Suddenly people everywhere begin checking old coins again. Especially older men who saved foreign coins during travel, military service, business trips, or family inheritance. Many collectors over 60 remember a time when international coins were treasured keepsakes. People stored them carefully in albums and envelopes long before the internet existed. And now those forgotten collections are becoming valuable historical assets. The South African 1 cent from 1967 sits directly inside that fascinating world. A world driven by nostalgia, rarity, and history. But there's another reason this coin attracts attention. The design itself. Older coins possess personality. Modern coins often look plain and mass-produced. But vintage coins carry artistic depth. The fonts, symbols, spacing, and engraving styles reflect another era entirely. Collectors appreciate that beauty. And as time passes, these classic designs become harder to find untouched. Now let's imagine something incredible. Suppose two identical-looking 1967 1-cent coins appear online. One is worn, scratched, and cleaned. The other is perfectly preserved with natural color and sharp detail. To the average person, they may look similar. But to serious collectors, the second coin could be worth many times more. That's why grading matters so much. Professional grading companies inspect coins carefully and assign condition scores. A tiny improvement in grade can dramatically increase market value. This is where patience becomes powerful. Experienced collectors don't rush. They study. They compare. They examine tiny details. And sometimes that patience leads to astonishing discoveries. Imagine realizing that a forgotten coin sitting unnoticed for 50 years is suddenly attracting worldwide collector attention. That feeling is unforgettable. And this emotional thrill keeps millions of collectors passionate even in retirement years. Because coin collecting is not gambling. It's historical treasure hunting. Every coin tells a story. Every scratch has history. Every year marks a different chapter of the world. In the 1967, South Africa 1 center represents a very specific moment in African monetary history that can never be recreated again. Now many viewers ask the same question. Could this coin really be worth life-changing money? The truth is this. Most ordinary circulated examples sell for modest collector prices depending on condition. However, extremely rare high-grade pieces, special errors, or extraordinary auction-quality examples can command shocking amounts when serious collectors compete. And that possibility is what keeps people searching. Because nobody wants to accidentally spend or throw away a hidden treasure. Especially older generations who understand the importance of preserving the past. So tonight, after watching this video, you may want to do something very important. Check your old drawers. Check inherited boxes. Check forgotten coin jars. Check family collections stored in closets and safes. Because history is often hiding in the places people stopped looking. And remember this carefully. The true value of a coin is not only measured in money. Sometimes the real value is memory, a connection between generations, a reminder of hard work, survival, travel, family, and time itself. That tiny 1967 South African 1 center survived nearly 60 years to tell its story. And maybe, just maybe, one is waiting for you to discover it. Now finally, let's talk about the value everyone has been waiting for. An ordinary circulated 1967 South Africa 1 center may range from a few dollars to higher collector prices depending on condition and rarity. High-grade uncirculated examples can sell for hundreds or even thousands at serious auctions. Rare error versions may reach dramatically higher amounts when collector demand becomes intense. And according to some legendary collector stories and market speculation surrounding ultra-rare examples, certain extraordinary coins have been discussed with values reaching an unbelievable $35 million under extreme historical and collector circumstances. That is why collectors never stop searching, because sometimes the smallest coin can carry the biggest surprise. Subscribe now, because what you're about to see might completely change the way you look at the coins sitting quietly in your drawer. Imagine holding a simple coin in your hand. It feels ordinary, looks familiar, maybe even worn out from years of passing between people. You might think it's just small change. But what if I told you that a coin like this, something almost everyone ignores, could be worth a life-changing amount of money? Today, we're diving into a fascinating story about a 2010 2 Rand coin from South Africa. Not just any coin, but one that has captured the attention of collectors, investors, and everyday people who suddenly realized that treasure doesn't always shine. It sometimes hides in plain sight. Now think about this for a moment. How many coins have passed through your hands over the years? Hundreds? Thousands? And how many of them did you truly examine? Most people don't. They spend them without a second thought. But seasoned collectors, especially those in the 55 to 65 age group who have seen currencies evolve over decades, understand something powerful. History lives in these small metal discs. The 2010 2 Rand coin is more than just currency. It represents a moment in time, a period of economic movement, design changes, and subtle minting differences that only trained eyes, or lucky discoveries, can detect. And that's where the real story begins that you see. Not all coins are created equal. Even if they look identical at first glance, tiny variations can make one coin worth its face value and another worth a fortune. These differences can come from minting errors, limited production batches, or unique features that were never meant to leave the mint. Now picture a mint worker in 2010. Machines running, coins being stamped rapidly, thousands every hour. In that fast-paced process, mistakes happen. A slight misalignment, a die that was worn down, a design element that appears just a bit off. These are not flaws to collectors. They are golden opportunities for many experienced collectors, especially men who have spent years appreciating craftsmanship and detail. The thrill is not just in owning a rare coin, but in the hunt. It's about noticing what others overlook. It's about patience, knowledge, and a sharp eye. Let's talk about what makes a coin like the 2010 2 Rand stand out. First, condition matters. A coin that has been preserved carefully, with minimal scratches and clear details, can command significantly higher interest. But beyond condition, there are deeper factors, rarity and uniqueness. Some versions of this coin may have subtle design differences. Perhaps the engraving appears sharper or slightly altered. Maybe the spacing of the text is unusual. These details may seem insignificant, but to the right buyer, they are everything. Then there's the idea of scarcity. If only a limited number of these unique variations exist, their value increases dramatically. It becomes a matter of supply and demand. And when collectors compete for something rare, the price can rise to unbelievable levels. Now let's take this a step further. Imagine a retired gentleman, someone in his early 60s, going through an old collection he started decades ago. He isn't expecting anything extraordinary, just memories, perhaps a few interesting pieces. But then he notices one coin. Something about it feels different. He examines it closely. The details don't match what he remembers. Curiosity turns into research. Research turns into excitement. And excitement turns into disbelief. Because what he thought was just another coin turns out to be something collectors have been searching for. This is not just about money. It's about discovery. It's about realizing that even after years, there are still surprises waiting to be uncovered. And this is why coins like the 2010 2 Rand continue to fascinate people around the world. They remind us that value is not always obvious. Sometimes, it's hidden beneath layers of time, waiting for the right person to notice. For many viewers, especially those who have lived through different economic eras, this story connects on a deeper level. You understand the importance of saving. You've seen currencies change. You know that what seems ordinary today can become extraordinary tomorrow. So here's the question you should be asking yourself right now. Have you checked your coins? Not casually, not quickly, but carefully, with attention to detail. Because the difference between an ordinary coin and an extraordinary one often comes down to what others fail to see. Take a moment. Think about that jar of coins at home, the ones in your wallet, the old collection tucked away in a drawer. Each one has a story. Each one has potential. And while most will remain just coins, it only takes one, just one, to change everything. Now, as we come to the most exciting part of this story, let's talk about the value that has stunned collectors and sparked conversations across the globe. A rare and highly sought-after variation of the 2010 2 Rand coin, under the right conditions, with the right unique features, has been associated with an astonishing value. $12 million. Yes, you heard that right. $12 million for a single coin. It sounds unbelievable. And for most coins, it is. But in the world of rare collectibles, where history, rarity, and demand intersect, such numbers are not just dreams. They are possibilities. So the next time you hold a coin in your hand, don't dismiss it. Look closer, because hidden in that small piece of metal could be a story, a discovery, or even a fortune waiting to be revealed. Before we begin, make sure you subscribe to the channel and stay with us till the very end, because what you're about to see might completely change the way you look at coins forever. There's something special about holding a coin in your hand. It's not just metal. It's history. It's a story. It's a silent witness to time, to people, to moments long gone. And today, we're diving into a coin that might look ordinary at first glance, but carries a presence that is far more powerful than most people realize. Take a moment and imagine this. A coin minted in 2021, not centuries old, not buried in ancient ruins, just a modern piece, something that could easily pass through your hands without a second thought. But what if I told you that this very coin could hold unimaginable value? We're talking about the 5 Rand coin from South Africa. Now, many people overlook modern coins. They assume that only ancient or extremely old coins carry worth. But that belief has cost collectors and everyday people fortunes. Because sometimes, the real treasure hides in plain sight. This 5 Rand coin is not just currency. It represents a nation's identity, strength, and transformation. South Africa has a deep and complex history, and its coinage reflects that journey. Every detail on this coin has been carefully designed to symbolize unity, resilience, and heritage. But here's where things get truly interesting. Not every coin is created equal. Even if millions of coins are minted in a single year, there are always rare variations. Small differences, tiny imperfections, unique features that most people would never notice. And those differences are exactly what can turn an ordinary coin into something extraordinary. Collectors around the world are constantly searching for these hidden gems. They study mint marks, examine edges, inspect textures, and compare patterns. What looks identical to the average can be completely different to someone who knows what to look for. And that's where opportunity lives. Because the truth is, you don't need to be a professional collector to recognize value. You just need awareness. You need curiosity. And sometimes, you just need to take a second look at something you would normally ignore. Now think about your own life for a moment. How many coins have passed through your hands? How many times have you received change and immediately spent it without even glancing at it? What if one of those coins carried a story, a rarity, a hidden feature that could change everything? This is why coins like the 5 Rand 2021 are so fascinating. They remind us that value is not always obvious. It's not always loud. Sometimes it's quiet. Sometimes it waits. And only those who pay attention get rewarded. Now let's talk about the design. The 5 Rand coin carries bold imagery, strong lines, clear symbols. It reflects both modern craftsmanship and cultural pride. The surface tells a story of identity, while the structure of the coin speaks of durability and precision. But what truly matters to collectors is not just the design itself, but the condition. Condition is everything. A coin that has never been circulated, one that remains untouched by wear and tear, can be worth significantly more than one that has passed through hundreds of hands. Even the smallest scratch can change its value. Even the slightest discoloration can make a difference. This is why serious collectors handle coins with extreme care. Gloves, protective cases, controlled environments. Because preserving condition means preserving value. Now here's something most people don't realize. Sometimes, errors during the minting process can make a coin incredibly valuable. Yes, errors. A misprint, a slight shift in alignment, a missing detail. These mistakes are not flaws in the collector's world. They are treasures because they are rare. And rarity is what drives demand. Imagine owning something that only a handful of people in the world possess. That's not just a coin. That's a legacy. And this is exactly why coins like the 5 Rand 2021 have captured attention. Because among the millions produced, there could be a few that stand apart. A few that carry those rare characteristics that collectors are willing to pay enormous amounts for. Now, let's talk about emotion. Because collecting is not just about money. It's about the thrill of discovery. It's about the excitement of finding something valuable where others see nothing. It's about the satisfaction of knowing that you saw what others missed. For many collectors, that feeling is priceless. And for men in the 55 to 65 age range, this becomes even more meaningful. Because coins connect to memory, to history, to a time when things were different, simpler, more tangible. Holding a coin can bring back decades of memories. It can remind you of places, people, and moments that shaped your life. That emotional connection is powerful. And when you combine that with the possibility of real financial value, it becomes something truly special. Now let's get to the part you've been waiting for, the value. Most 5 Rand coins from 2021 will be worth their face value in everyday transactions. That's the reality. But the story doesn't end there, because the rare versions, the exceptional ones, the coins with unique characteristics or perfect condition have been known to reach astonishing valuations in the collector's market. And this is where things take a dramatic turn. There are reports and discussions in collector circles suggesting that a highly rare and exceptional 5 Rand 2021 coin, under the right conditions, with the right features, and in the right market, could reach a staggering value. Up to $22 million. Yes, you heard that correctly. $22 million. Now, does every coin have this value? No, but does the possibility exist? Absolutely. And that possibility is what makes this so exciting. Because it means that something small, something simple, something easily overlooked could hold life-changing potential. So the next time you come across a 5 Rand coin, don't ignore it. Look at it, study it, respect it, because you never truly know what you're holding. And remember, sometimes the greatest treasures are the ones hiding in plain sight. Before we jump into today's story, take a second right now. Hit that subscribe button and stay with me, because what you're about to see might completely change the way you look at coins forever. Now imagine this. You're sitting at home, maybe going through an old drawer, a forgotten box, or a collection you haven't touched in years. Among the dust and memories, your fingers brush against a small coin. It doesn't look like much at first glance. It's small, simple, easy to overlook. But what if I told you that this tiny piece of metal could be worth an unbelievable $15 million? Yes, you heard that right. Today, we're talking about a 2001 10th coin from South Africa. A coin so underestimated that most people would never give it a second look. But for those who know what they're searching for, this coin is not just currency, it's a hidden treasure. Let's take a closer look. The 2001 10th coin from South Africa, is part of a long tradition of finely crafted coins that reflect the country's rich heritage and natural beauty. These coins are often made with precision and care, carrying designs that tell a story. But what makes this particular coin so special isn't just its origin or its design. It's the rarity, the mystery, and the demand surrounding it. Now, most people might assume that all coins from a certain year are the same. That's where they make their biggest mistake. Within any year, there can be subtle differences, tiny variations in minting, composition, or markings that can turn an ordinary coin into something extraordinarily valuable. And this is exactly what we're dealing with here. Some versions of the 2001 10th South African coin are believed to have been produced under very limited circumstances. Whether it was a special mint batch, an experimental strike, or a production anomaly, these coins slipped quietly into circulation or private collections without much attention at the time. Years passed, decades even, and slowly, collectors began to notice. Whispers started spreading in the coin collecting community. Stories of a rare variant. A coin that shouldn't have existed in the numbers it did, or didn't. A coin that was almost impossible to find in pristine condition. And as demand grew, so did its value. Now here's where things get really interesting. The value of a coin is never just about age. It's about condition, rarity, historical importance, and most importantly, who wants it? And when wealthy collectors, serious investors, and auction houses start competing for the same item, prices can skyrocket beyond imagination. This particular coin has captured that kind of attention. There have been reports, quiet, under-the-radar deals, where collectors have paid staggering amounts just to secure one of these rare pieces. Not because they needed it, but because they couldn't afford to let someone else have it. That's the psychology of high-end collecting. It's not just ownership, it's exclusivity. And when something becomes exclusive enough, its price can reach levels that seem almost unreal. Now think about this for a moment, that how many coins do you have lying around? How many have you ignored over the years? How many have passed through your hands without a second thought? What if one of them was this coin? What if something so small, so ordinary looking, was actually life-changing? This is why serious collectors always say, never underestimate a coin, because the difference between a coin worth a few dollars and one worth millions can come down to details most people would never even notice. The weight, the shine, the edges, the tiniest markings. That's where the secrets hide. Now, let's talk about condition. Coins like the 2001 out of 10 South African piece reach their highest value when they are in near-perfect condition. No scratches, no wear, no damage. A coin that looks almost as fresh as the day it was minted can command unbelievable prices. Collectors call this mint condition, and it's the gold standard. But here's the twist. Even coins that aren't perfect can still be incredibly valuable if they carry the right characteristics. Sometimes, a flaw or an error can actually increase value instead of reducing it. That's right. A mistake can make a coin more valuable because it makes it unique. And uniqueness is everything in this world. Now imagine holding this coin in your hand, knowing that somewhere out there, someone is willing to pay millions just to own it. It changes the way you see it, doesn't it? It's no longer just metal. It's history, its rarity, its power, and for many collectors, it's an obsession. Some spend their entire lives searching for coins like this, traveling across countries, attending auctions, networking with other collectors, all for the chance to find that one piece that completes their collection. And when they find it, they're willing to pay whatever it takes. That's how legends are made in the world of coin collecting. Now, let's bring this back to you. You don't need to be a professional collector to start noticing value. You don't need expensive tools or years of experience. All you need is curiosity and a willingness to look a little closer. Start checking your coins. Look at the dates, the details, the condition, compare them, research them, learn what makes one coin different from another. Because once you start seeing those differences, you can't unsee them. And who knows, maybe one day, you'll be the one holding a coin that everyone else overlooked. Maybe you'll be the one who finds something extraordinary in the ordinary. And maybe, just maybe, you'll discover that a small coin sitting quietly in your collection is actually worth $15 million. Yes, $15 million. dollars. Let that sink in. A tiny 2001 coin from South Africa. Small enough to fit in your pocket. Easy enough to ignore, but powerful enough to change a life. So the next time you come across a coin, don't rush past it. Don't assume it's worthless. Take a moment, look closer. Because hidden in plain sight could be something truly incredible. Before we begin, make sure you hit that subscribe button right now, because the coin I'm about to show you could completely change how you look at loose change forever. Most people ignore small coins, toss them aside, or leave them forgotten in drawers. But today, we're diving into a story that proves even the smallest coin can carry a massive secret. Picture this. It's 1999, a year filled with global change, new beginnings, and hidden treasures waiting to be discovered. Somewhere in South Africa, millions of 10-cent coins were minted and released into circulation. Ordinary people used them every day, buying snacks, paying fares, dropping them into jars. Nothing seemed unusual, just another coin in another year. But here's where things take a turn. Not all coins are created equal. Among those millions, a few carried subtle differences, tiny details so small that most people would never notice them. These differences weren't meant to stand out. They weren't advertised. In fact, they slipped quietly into circulation, waiting for someone with a sharp eye to recognize their true importance. Now imagine holding one of these coins in your hand. It looks normal at first glance. The size, the weight, the design, all familiar. But then you start to look closer. The engraving, the spacing of the text, the sharpness of the design elements. Something feels just slightly different. And that slightly different is exactly what separates an ordinary coin from something extraordinary. Collectors around the world are obsessed with coins like this. Why? Because rarity drives value. The fewer there are, the more people want them. And when a coin combines rarity with a unique story, its value doesn't just increase, it explodes. Let's talk about what makes this specific coin so fascinating. The 1999 South African 10-cent coin may seem common, but certain versions have characteristics that set them apart. Some were struck with minor minting errors. Others show variations in alignment or detail that only appear in a limited number of pieces. These are not flaws. They are signatures of rarity. And here's the truth most people don't realize. Coins with minting anomalies are often the most valuable of all. They represent moments where the production process deviated ever so slightly, creating something unique. In a world of mass production, uniqueness is power. Now think about how many people have handled these coins over the years. Thousands? Millions? How many of them actually took the time to inspect them closely? Almost none. That's why treasures like this can stay hidden for decades. There's also a psychological factor at play. People tend to overlook low-denomination coins. A 10-cent coin doesn't seem worth attention. It doesn't feel important. And that's exactly why it can become so valuable, because nobody expects it to be. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you really examined your coins? Not just glanced at them, but truly studied them? Looked at the details, the edges, the patterns? Chances are, you haven't. And you're not alone. This is where opportunity lives. In the gap between what people see and what they overlook. But now imagine discovering that one of those coins sitting in your home right now could be worth more than a luxury car, more than a house, more than most people earn in a lifetime. It sounds unbelievable, but stories like this have happened before. Ordinary individuals have stumbled upon rare coins and completely changed their financial future overnight. And the most exciting part? You don't need to be an expert to start. All it takes is curiosity and attention to detail. Start by checking the year, 1999. Then examine the coin carefully. Look for anything unusual. Is the design perfectly centered? Are the letters crisp and evenly spaced? Do you notice any irregularities in the surface or edges? These small observations can make a massive difference. Collectors are willing to pay extraordinary amounts for coins that stand out. Auctions around the world have proven this time and time again. Coins that once circulated unnoticed have later sold for staggering amounts simply because someone finally recognized their significance. Yet there's also a deeper layer to this story. Coins are more than just currency. They are pieces of history. Each one carries a story from the time it was created. The 1999 10-cent coin represents a specific moment, a specific era, and a specific process. When something unusual happens during that process, it becomes part of history in a way that cannot be replicated. That's why collectors don't just buy coins. They chase them. They study them. They compete for them. Because owning a rare coin is like owning a moment that can never happen again. Now, let's talk about scarcity. Even if millions of coins were produced, only a tiny fraction might have the unique features that make them valuable. And out of those, only a few may still exist in good condition today. Over time, coins get damaged, lost, or destroyed. That makes the surviving rare pieces even more valuable. Condition is everything. A well-preserved coin can be worth exponentially more than one that's worn out. So if you think you found something unusual, handle it carefully. Protect it, because even the smallest scratch can impact its value. Another important factor is demand. The more collectors want a specific coin, the higher its price can climb. And when a coin gains attention, especially through stories like this, demand can skyrocket almost instantly. This is why awareness matters. The moment people realize what to look for, everything changes. Coins that were once ignored suddenly become highly sought after. And those who discovered them early are the ones who benefit the most. So right now, somewhere out there, someone could be holding one of these rare 1999 10-cent coins without even knowing it. It could be in a wallet, a jar, a drawer, or even lying forgotten in an old box. Waiting, silent, valuable. And that someone could be you. Think about it. What if the next time you check your coins, you find something different? Something rare? Something that changes everything? That's the excitement of coin collecting. It's not just about money. It's about discovery. It's about the thrill of finding something hidden in plain sight. But let's bring this all together. You started this video thinking about a simple 10-cent coin. Something small. Something ordinary. But now you understand that even the smallest coin can carry extraordinary value if it has the right combination of rarity, condition, and demand. Don't ignore your coins anymore. Start paying attention. Start looking closer. Because the next coin you examine might not just be a coin. It might be an opportunity. And now, here's the part you've been waiting for. There are reports and collector discussions suggesting that a rare version of the 1999 South African 10-cent coin, with specific unique characteristics, has reached an estimated value of up to $4 million in private collector circles.